again, or actually not even back again, here right now for the first time, making my first ever Monster Hunter Stories 2 Monstie build video. I am going to do it on Stygian Zinogre, mainly because Stygian Zinogre is actually one of my favorite Monsties in Monsters. Well, Monsties in the game, Monsters in all of the series, and also because builds for Thunderlord and Silverwind Nargacuga and Teostra have all been done by like 269 and Paradise Central. So I'm trying to be original and trying to do kind of an off-meta pick by making a Stygian Zinogre build because I love my hell puppy. Now, getting into the skills, we have the Bugshot Gene Large, which is an innate ability of Stygian Zinogre. It is basically Dracophage shot, where he shoots out his little Dracophage bugs. It's a projectile attack. It deals medium dragon damage to one enemy, medium chance to inflict crit rate down for 3 turns, and inflicting crit rate down is pretty good considering that most of the PvP scene is using some form of crit, or maybe even having critical XL on their Monsties. So this allows Stygian Zinogre to actually tank quite a few hits and not get critted, or if you're playing in doubles, your teammate won't or will have a less chance of getting critted. Also, we have Dragon Boost XL, which this is a very important, probably the #1 ability to have, or a #1 skill to have in this, because it seriously boosts dragon attack. We have that up to I kept the dragon clad gene because what it does is it moderately increases the user's dragon attack in defense, and it also increases the crit rate. When you max it out, it has 5 turns. This is probably one of, if not the, well, I would say this is probably the second best charging move. Second only to Rajang, but Rajang's Amplify only massively increases your all elemental damage, while this also increases your defense and your crit rate. So Stygian becomes like a crit monster just after this. So you basically, the plan is you want to buff up. You basically just want to buff up and then just keep on going in afterwards. We have the Critical XL. Critical XL is just going to seriously increases our crit rate. Stygian Zinogre actually has very good crit rate. I'll take a second here just to show you his stats. So just so you can get, I guess, a good glimpse of what you are looking at, going to the field guides, Monsteepedia, going all the way over to our boy Stygian Zinogre. He has really good max HP, nice speed tier, above average speed, about average recovery, and he has a very high crit rate. Now, technically, I really don't know if buffing him with Dragon Clad will max out his crit rate, or just putting or just putting on XL, like Critical XL, will basically max him out on crit rate. But if you want to replace Dragon Clad with anything else, feel free. If you don't like self buff moves, I know some people don't like them because their Monstie will default to them. I keep Dragon Surge mainly because the dragon attack and defense are really great. The crit rate is a decent cherry on top. I don't know if it will overcap him on crit rate, but if you do feel the need that you could just rely on Dragon Clad, then feel free to replace Critical XL with whatever you want. Anyways, moving on to our lovely Dragon Blaster. This is a Devil Joe's level 30 move, I believe. I know this is from Devil Joe, and it deals medium dragon damage to all enemies and has a high chance of lowering crit rate for 3 turns. This is basically going to be what you are going to be spamming once you get your kinship up. So and the good thing about Stygian in this build, not a lot of his moves don't cost a lot. As you see, this costs 28, but it's going to cost a little bit more due to one of the skills that we have, and I will get to that in a second. But this isn't very expensive compared to running some Elder Dragons in the meta like Teostra, where his Supernova would be at 54, and if you have Harmony up to, it would just go down to 48, I believe, because I have a Harmony on my Teostra to make his kinship skills a little bit cheaper. Coming over here is the Zinogre Gene XL, which is Dragon Fist, which deals heavy damage to one enemy, high chance to lower crit rate, and this is a contact move, so this will crit. Obviously, Dragon Breath is a projectile move and will not crit. So this is one of Zinogre's innate abilities, or Stygian's innate abilities. So it's fairly good. I believe this is going to be your most expensive move on this list will be your Dragon Blaster, because you're going to try to spread and try to attack multiple targets with it. Dragon Fist is going to be really good if Monsties are asleep or on the ground, so you can wake them up with a really strong critical attack. And then we will move down here to our Panacea XL. This is a pain to grind, and I'm very lucky to actually have up to XLs. Not a lot of people actually have Panacea XL up to. Some people just stick with Panacea large, and that's kind of what I'm doing with my Thunderlord build, since I don't have any more Panaceas XLs. But this is a very important, very important like skill or gene for PvP, at least, and some Monstie fights in PvE, but mainly PvP, is because status is really crazy and you can lose the game off of just a paralysis or a sleep or almost any abnormal status, and this helps counter it. Up to gives it a fair chance of activation, and so our Stygian won't be statused and pretty much won't lose the game off of some shenanigans. For the next gene is Devil Joe's Bloodsuck gene, which is the Dragon Eater, which deals medium dragon damage to one enemy and recovers a percentage of damage dealt as HP. The reason why we have this is because the strategy is you want a Dragonclad, and then after you Dragonclad, you want to just immediately Dragon Eater just to get all that health back. If Stygian was targeted, you get all that health back, and then you proceed just to run the game for 5 turns with your dragon attack in defense and your crit rate just being through the roof. Well, not through the roof, but just having a moderate boost, which is fairly big deal, since a lot of buffing moves are only slight boosts. So that's kind of the strat. That's kind of going, work your way up to Dragon Cladding. After that, go Bloodsuck. It's only a 20 move, but it's going to be costing a little bit more thanks to our Merciless Gene XL, which is spend more kinship charge to unleash skills at full power, and it seriously increases skill power. So all these skills, the reason why we have like 4 moves is because they will all get buffed by the Merciless Gene. And so they're going to be doing way more power, and if Bloodsuck is doing way more power, then you're getting way more health. Doing way more power with Dragon Blaster is good because you're spreading, it's a spread move, and spread moves are really good in PvP and in PvE when there's a lot of just opposition, like mob, like the Banabaras, the Khonshu's, and whatnot. And Dragon Fist is doing quite a bit of damage. This one you're not going to really spam it out, but if they're down on the ground or they're asleep and you just need a really huge heavy hitting contact move, this is going to be your go-to. And Bugshot Gene is going to be our very cheap just move just to try to inflict crit rate down off the bat of the game. Sadly, there are no speed attacks for dragon monsties. They actually have the lowest gene, or like the least amount of genes in the game. So if you're wondering where's the speed attack option, there is no speed attack option. But at least you can trade with power by spamming out the Bloodstruck gene or Dragon Eater to get a little bit of your health back. And that's kind of why we have that here. And to count the bingos, we have 8 dragon bingos, which boosts our dragon attack to 150%, and 2 power bingos that boost our power attacks to 120%. You might be asking, but wait, Stygian's a technical monstie. Funny enough, the only other technical dragon gene is Dragon Res Plus, and you're not going to be running into a lot of dragon monsties in PvP, and there's not a lot of dragon monsties in general in this game. There's only 3, one being the Palamute dragon, the other being Stygian Zinogre, and then the other being Double Joe. So you're not really going to run into all of those monsties just about, so you don't really need to have Dragon Res on. The good thing is that I think only 1 or 2 monsties are actually resistant to dragon, and that will be Stygian Zinogre and the Dragon Palamute, or the Palamute. I don't know if I'm actually saying that right, but so that makes most of Stygian's attacks will hit for neutral damage, which is fairly good, so he won't actually get countered out often, and can basically pose a threat to a lot of the hard-hitting crit monsters in the metagame right now, such as Nergigante. You have Thunderlord. Well, you don't really want to leave this on a Thunderlord, because Stygian is weak to Thunder, but you have like Nargacugas. You have Nargacugas that are just going around. So yes, Stygian is a counter to some of the high tier critical damaging monsters in the game, and especially the status Silverwind build that's going around in PvP, and having Panacea XL and also benefiting from both a power bingo and a dragon bingo is very, very huge on Stygian, making him do a real abnormal amount of damage, especially trying to counter Dread Queens. Oh yes, this is the #1 Dread Queen killer, if you want to say whatever metagame that is made out of currently with status. Dread Queen I have seen Dread Queen being used, and this Stygian will eat a Dread Queen alive. Dread Queen cannot poison it, or will have a hard time trying to poison it due to Panacea. And Dread Queen is weak to dragon, and it just makes Stygian just the absolute best Dread Queen killer in the metagame. So that is basically it for the build. Currently, I'm going to be grinding, trying to get some of my monsties maxed out. Stygian Zinogre is the only monstie I have like all of his skills just up to. Silverwind's kind of getting there. Thunderlord, I just started working on Thunderlord like this morning, last night. Teostra, I just need some Teostras to max him out, but I will be trying to make more build videos in the later. I do kind of have an idea of what I want to use Mizutsunate. If you want to see another Monstie build video, then please comment and ask, just request what Monstie you want me to build, and I will try to build it for you. With all that being said, Peace out, all my fellow weebs and weebettes, and catch you in the next one.